So we have this interesting market. We've got with the S&Ps and the Nasdaq acting great, and then on the other hand, so that's SPX. If we look at NDX, it's also acting great, right? And this is of course a reflection of some of the biggest stocks on the planet also having great moves, like Meta and all these guys. But we've also got to remember too, we've got IWM that's not, it looks great right there. If we zoom out a little bit here, though, we're not near the highs, so we got divergences there. If we look at transports, we're not near the highs. We got divergences there. If we look at the S&P 400 mid caps, we're not near the highs. We got divergences there, and we've got a lot of stocks that are actually not doing so hot here. A lot of software, a lot of stocks. There's actually a lot of downside movement here that's pretty attractive, even though we've got the main two indexes, the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq, going higher and higher and higher. So I think in this market, it's important to not only look for and identify the strong opportunities to the upside, but more than ever, there's a lot of opportunities here to be neutral and to be bearish. And remember, when markets go down, they go down in a really pleasing way. Like, a lot of times when stocks go up and they pause and consolidate. Down markets don't do that because the psychology of a down market is much different than the psychology of an up market in these particular cases. So what are some ways to identify this stuff? So one thing I always like to look at, of course, I'm a fan of the squeeze, is just looking for, and this is just a dashboard I like to look at, is just, okay, so what's in a squeeze? Typically, I like to see the black and red squeeze together. The red squeeze, that's the OG squeeze, and then the black squeeze, the black dots are kind of the early warning that we might get a red squeeze. And then I want to see that all the moving averages are stacked positive, okay? And so if we go through and we look at that, there's a handful here of sectors, most notably the semiconductors, and you got TSM here and CLAC, both set up with squeezes here. And then if we go and we look at, and you can see also, there's a lot of negative energy, really having a tough time here. Financials, while like Goldman Sachs and a handful of others are doing really, really well, you've got some other ones that are kind of a mixed bag. And then if we look at technology, we got squeezes, again, semis, all that kind of stuff. And so you've got some energy, Alibaba. So you've got a lot of energy building up there. And if we look at something like that and just say, okay, well, what is that, what does something like Alibaba look like here? Okay, great. We got the moving averages stacked positive. We got a squeeze. We got a nice base, and those are the things I want to look at. So what are some easy ways to find these besides going through, hundreds of charts and things like that? So one of the ways I like to find this stuff too, and it's kind of the upside or downside, is I really wish I would have thought about this myself. Taylor Horton kind of put together this, kind of scorecard that puts together like trends and squeezes and stuff like that, and ranks all this stuff. And so he's a huge fan, of AVGO, Meta, a couple other ones here that have been setting up, and he's got his top bull list, top bear list, and essentially everything's ranked here. And I found that this is something where it's just really helpful, where at a glance you can say like, okay, this is something, here's where I want to focus on the upside, and here's where I want to focus on the downside. So let's take a look at a couple of these in more detail. So on the upside, in terms of sectors, the top of the list is SMH. So you can see, great looking squeeze here. Everything's kind of firing on all cylinders. So obviously we can see right away that that's pretty strong. And then right behind it is XLC. And let me move, that was a monthly chart. Let me come back down here to the daily chart. XLC, same thing. Beautiful squeeze here. And it had a little bit of a pop today in XLC. And of course, this is something that you just have more room to run. And so what's nice about this is at a glance, you can get essentially the squeeze sector ranked from strongest to weakest. And then if we go and we look at the weaker ones, so here's energy right off the bat. It's like, okay, well, gosh, if we want to do something a little bit more on the bearish side, this one's absolutely teed up for that, right? Okay, and what about some individual stocks? And near the top of the list on the upside is LRCX. And this has been on this list a little bit now. So it gave you a lot of opportunities to kind of get in around these ideal levels. And again, it's not, you could run a scanner on squeezes, and you'll get 100 squeezes. But what Taylor has done is it narrows it down to kind of like the best and the most liquid names, which is great, and it saves a ton of time. But I'm also in this market a huge fan of the downside. The downside's fun, and it doesn't mean fighting a trend. Like I'm not looking to do downside on the Qs, right? However, NOW has been a downside here for a little bit, and you can see the squeeze that had set up here. Once we broke, I mean, this thing dropped 100 points in a quick matter of time. And so what's nice about this is that while sometimes, you know, these moves to the upside can just take a while and there's a lot of back and forth, I actually really appreciate kind of looking through his top bear picks, because when they break, it's typically fallen off of a cliff, which is fantastic. Now, what I like to do on this is, instead of buying, like, say, one put, like for every put I would buy, which of course will do well in this, but what will happen is when you start to downtrend, the put premium expands, and so when you buy it, you're kind of paying up for it. Instead, I'll just sell, for every one put that I would buy, I'll sell 3 call credit spreads. So what's nice about that is that your risk reward is the same. You know, if you fall this much and you would have made X amount on the put, you're gonna make the same amount on 3 call credit spreads, with the bonus being, while you're waiting for it to break down, those calls are gonna be sucking wind and losing money every day. And it's like one of my favorite trades to do. It's just, I love obviously bullish trades and catching big moves, but when you get in on these downtrends, they're just so consistent, you don't get a lot of heartache. I mean, the market was up huge today, and NOW was down another $3, right? That's what we're talking about here. So if all of that was intriguing, Taylor's actually going to be doing a free webinar on this Wednesday, August 13th at 7 o'clock Central. And, you know, he's really been having a good year and a half or so of trading, and he's going to talk about his triple-digit gains, over 70% win rate using the scorecard. And what's great about this scorecard, if you've ever had any issues with, you know, like, okay, you're just going to grab the next 3 trades that come up. One of the things that Taylor does is he's got a very disciplined approach in terms of, let's narrow it. Yes, there's a lot of squeezes here, there's a lot of opportunities, but let's narrow it down to the best ones. And let's do it in a way that's not, you know, it's all about time, right? I can go through and I can spend 2 hours every night, you know, sorting through all the lists, going through all the charts, you know, all that kind of stuff. But, you know, I've got a wife, I've got 3 kids, I've got zebras to feed. I mean, there's a lot of stuff kind of happening in my life, and the fact that Taylor is doing this, and all I got to do is just kind of look over what he's found, what he's worked on, what he's put together, and that not only are these kind of prime opportunities, but it saves me a lot of time. It's like, and it's great because he includes the squeeze. So, you know, thank you. Makes my life a lot easier. So he's going to go through, he's going to talk about, you know, hey, through these 100 trades, I'm going to talk about exactly how this scorecard that I put together, and I'm speaking in his person, right? The scorecard that he put together that tells him exactly how all this works. So the stuff that's important to him is just how to focus on these A+ trades at a glance. I kind of call these Porsche setups. Where, you know, you've got these things that all come together, and if and when those come together, that's kind of when you have this prime, better than average opportunity, going a little bit bigger if you want to, all that kind of stuff, versus like an average opportunity. There's a lot of average opportunities out there. Who wants an average opportunity? The exact rules, which is great, because that's just something like, hey, this has worked very well for him, and he wants to share exactly the same rules with you. And then just kind of going through the scoring system that he uses, which I think is fascinating. And then how he shifts between day trades and swing trades with total clarity. You know, I just got back from 3.5 weeks in Asia, and I kind of had this moment where it was kind of back in the old days when I was working a corporate job and I couldn't really watch the markets during the day, because when I was in Singapore and in Bali, the markets opened at 9:30 at night, and we were getting up at 5 a.m. And so, you know, I wasn't really up when the markets opened. But what was great is I could still set orders, go to bed, and then when I woke up, the market was closed and I could see what happened, you know, kind of the whole Nicholas Darva style. And I think that's really important like that you actually have one account that you do day trades in, and then another account that you strictly do swing trades in, to separate that. So anyway, that was kind of a, you know, a lot of trading is kind of relearning, like, oh yeah, that just makes that so much easier, so might as well do it. And then also just kind of adapting to all the quick changing markets and all that kind of stuff too. So you can click down here, register now. You can just type in this URL, or there'll probably be a link on this page somewhere as well. Anyway, it's going to be fun. Wanted to share that with you. You guys have a great night, and we'll see you at the next update.
Hey, John here with Simpler Trading. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, comment down below. And let us know what topic you want to see us cover next. Also, be sure to subscribe and click the bell icon so you can get notified when we release new videos. And if you want to watch us trade in real time using our own money, go to simplertrading.com and learn how to sign up. Good trading, and we'll see you next time.